All right. Thor, are we ready to go? All right, cool. We'll go and get started with Krishan. Go and fire away.
Jimmy, what's your overall assessment on tonight's performance?
Tough question to start with. I think great 25 minutes in the second half. I think that's it. I think we have the momentum. We do what we have to do. Come out of the locker room just sharp, wanting to win. I think that's the biggest difference. Should not be 1-0 or 0-1 before you start doing it. I think we had it I think we controlled it for quite a bit in the second half. I think we had momentum. We scored a goal. I think we played well as well in that second half. But again, the reality is you have to do it for 90 minutes. This league's going to eat you alive. And I think we have two spells of about 10 minutes where, again, we do a goalkeeper kick. It doesn't work out. We try it again. You can see the goal. That shouldn't happen. And I think those are the moments where we have to be better in control of what we do. And I think that's just a reality. I think I've seen Kiana Palacios and CC Delzer that at the end of the game, down to 10, they were still running back and forth on that pitch, and I think that's the standard we need to set. Being a team, being a youth or Royals, that's the identity. So I think that's the only thing that I think that we have to take away from this game.
2 goals were conceded, but Mia also had some really key saves. How would you assess her tonight after stepping in for Mandy again?
Yeah, I think the reality is that she steps in and she does her job. I think it's always easy to be talking about players that are injured. The reality is how are the other players going to step up and how are they going to do their job? And I think Mia is doing her job. She's doing what she can, what she's able to do, and that's good. That's good enough for us, definitely. I just think, again, it needs to be a whole team effort. If people stepping up, we need to step up to the highest level and make sure we do that. And I think, again, Mia needs to be helped as much as the backline needs to be helped, as much as the midfield needs to be helped. So it's a team effort. It's not never, ever going to be just one player. I think that's the reality of it.
For Laura, was her first goal in the NWSL. Just what was it like seeing her score that?
Yeah, I think if you look at Laura and you look at where she scored her goals for a previous team, it's always between the PK and the 18 yards. So we know she's effective from that spot. It's just making sure she gets into that zone and then gets a shot on goal, which she did today. So I think that's definitely something we know. Mina Tanaka is someone that scores between the PK and the 6, and then Laura is someone that likes to score from the PK up to the 18. So it's getting those players into those positions. I think the second half you bring them into those positions. So is it coincidence and all of a sudden you score a goal? No, I think it's just doing research. And I think, again, look it up. I think Laura, about 85% of all of her goals are in that zone. So how do we get Laura there? And from that position, she was able to get herself into that zone and score that goal. So I think that's what we have to do more, finding players and understanding the qualities.
What did you make of the red card, and how did that kind of change the momentum of the second half?
Yeah, I think it's just not in our control, unfortunately. I think this was a game with 2 weights. What I mean by that is I've seen a lot of yellow cards going one way and not the other way. I think we're 6 minutes into a game and we have a yellow card for a first foul, which I don't mind if you do it throughout the whole game for everyone on that pitch. But I think I took the example of Pickett at the very end, almost kicking up. Was it Brecken? I don't know who it was on our side. And I just asked the question at the end of the game, what was it? And she apologized. She took the blame. And I go well, that's a bit of the issue, isn't it? It goes one way, but you have to do it on both sides because then players are being cautious. They don't go into those fouls. They don't. So I think it's just, again, Tatum did a really good job just throughout the whole game, again, stepping up in moments of need. I think she's an example of what we want to be as a team. So I really appreciate her doing it. So I think there is no blame on taking a second yellow. I don't know if it was a second yellow, to be honest. I haven't really reviewed the action, but after seeing the overall performance, I think it's doubtable, probably.
Coach, this may sound like a repeat of Krishan's first question, but I'm curious, what was the game plan coming in against this stacked midfield with San Diego, and how would you evaluate the squad's performance against that plan?
Sometimes it isn't hard, isn't it? I'm just going to ask you a question with a question. What do you think is their strongest element in their 11? What do you think? Where are the best players for them? I think, to me, that's in that midfield. So game plan was go around it to go back into it, which we did in the whole second half. So don't start playing through the middle in the first phase. Go around first, then get in. And you see how we score. We see how we created opportunities. Was going around the shape to then go back in. That's the reality of it. So I think it's just the execution of it that needs to be to the point when you're playing at this level. It just needs to be better. So second half, we just showed them, look, what we had prepared initially is actually the case. So if we're going to execute it, we're going to be in a really good spot. And that's what happened in the second half. That's as easy as it gets. So I think that's just the hard part is the realization of look, there is a plan, just stick to it. And if the plan goes wrong, I'm the one taking accountability. Like I'm very open and very happy to do that. But I think the reality is you don't want to be playing into Kenza Dali's feet, nor Gia Corley, nor Ludmila or Fraser. It's going around it first, and I think we found Yenny and we found Tatum very often wide, high in those good spaces. We brought in crosses to the edge of the box, and that's when we're dangerous.
Can we assume that the substitution patterns were pre-planned going into the match, and was it tempting at all to not take Lara and to take Chloe, the assist maker, off the pitch?
You have an assist and you have a goal, so I can only imagine people go like, what is he doing? The reality is you have a game in 3 days as well, and we fly tomorrow morning. So it's game by game, obviously, but I think the expectation should be with everyone coming in that they can pick up the role. And I think to me that's just the most important part. Like, we have to be able to rely on a full 15, 16, whatever players we have. We have to believe in it, and we have to make sure we do our job. So again, if you look at the minute when we did the subs, it was just to protect players and make sure that we have a competitive side getting on the pitch against Washington. So I think that's the only annoying part, because you could go play out the game, and then the reality is that on Wednesday you probably are not putting any performance on the pitch. So I think that was the balance.
We got a small sampling of Deanna today. How, in that 6 role, what do you like about her style of play, and what can we look forward to seeing more of as she gets more acclimated?
I think at this point, not understanding the language fully is just helping her. She gets on the pitch and she just takes up a role as a 6, just exactly how we like it. I think her first 20 minutes on that pitch were magical, in my opinion, both in and out of possession. Reality is she can only last for 20, 25 minutes at the minute, which who's to blame? I think I really appreciate her coming in, but I think what you saw is just turning forward, keeping it simple, playing 1-2 touches, being in charge of that midfield. I think that's the reality of it. I think that's what you can expect with her. She's going to go against the flow of the game. She's going to go not against the game plan, but she's just going to do something that nobody sees. I think that's just the value of having these kind of players.
So this is your first game at home this season. What does it mean to be back in front of your swarm?
Yeah, no, I think great question. I think I know there has been a lot of talking against moving people out of stands, and I appreciate it and I understand it as well. I think having a full crowd behind you does help. I have to be honest. It helps to just feel that a whole stand is coming together and cheering on the team. I think that's a big one for me as a coach as well, just feeling that every single second throughout the game people were supporting us, even down to 10. So I think that's just huge. And I know it's a hard time to be a Utah Royals fan sometimes, and I realize it as well. I think it's about picking up what we did really well today and making sure we take that to the next game and we keep on showing up the way we did.
And then losing Paige to injury isn't ideal. What does it mean to have someone like Kate who can step up as a leader?
Yeah, you're very kind saying it's not ideal. I think it's more than not ideal at the minute, not having Paige. But she's not the only one. But again, like to your point, it's about who gets up when it gets tough, and who will step up when it's not going your way. And I think I've seen players stepping up, whether it's a Mia just as in goal, just getting those minutes and just also really believing in it. It's Tatum Milazzo who needs to play a left fullback position against a foot coming back from an ACL. This just isn't easy. I think Kate Del Favo, we know what we get out of Kate. We know she can lead a team, so that's what she's been doing. When Paige is there, whenever Paige isn't there, it's always the same Kate. I think what I really appreciate is players stepping up when it gets tough, and I think we've seen a few today that really stepped up and really showed it. Like I said, a Cece Dells or a Kiana just running back and forth on that pitch, even down to 10. I think that's what we need more of.
Thank you.
Awesome. That wraps it up for the questions in the room. Dan, on the Zoom, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Jimmy. Dan Lawletter from Equalizer. I'm curious what the halftime adjustment was that allowed you to kind of control the game more so after halftime.
What did we say during halftime? We didn't say much. It was just about pace of the passing. I think San Diego is not going to end very high in the ranking when it comes to pressing, when it comes to counter pressing. So you got to make them move and you got to get them out of the shape. And I think that's what we did in the second half, moving the ball very quickly from the right to the left and then breaking through the middle or going around, depending on what that winger did. And I think once we found that pace of passing, once we found those elements, I think we looked really good. Again, for good 25 to 30 minutes in the second half, we looked good. So was it a major adjustment? I think it's just showing that the elements we prepared are on, and it's creating that belief amongst players.
And then just to clarify, you mentioned foul earlier and that somebody apologized to you. Was that one of the players or the referee that apologized for that?
No, it was. I just was really curious to ask after the game. Like, look, like I didn't even contest a red card. Like again, this is not in our control. I just want to understand sometimes. Like if we as coaches we're seeing something different, I think at this point, if you look at the number of red cards that have been awarded throughout the first 2 games of the season, it's actually insane. The number of yellow cards that got awarded. So, or the rules have changed, which I'm happy if they change, and I just want to know, or we're just really being overcautious and not doing it both ways. So my genuine question was like, look, what happened with that very last foul? Like, I think that was a clear yellow as well. And that's when she apologized. She was like, yeah, like I probably should have given her, this is on me. But I think that was throughout the whole game. I think things looked probably more dangerous than they actually were. But I think the biggest issue is once you award a yellow card, there's no going back. I think the fourth official even came to me after the game saying like, I'm with you, I follow you, I agree. And it was actually genuine. It was not just like keeping me quiet. He said like, I agree, I saw things today that should not have been awarded, things that should have gone differently, but I wasn't in a position to change it. So I think there's a reality of it, isn't it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that just about does it. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Thank you.